Hi, it's Xanthe. We're just going to quickly apply a little bit of makeup before the camera battery runs out, hopefully. So the colour that I'm wearing, some people would call berry, and it's sort of, in this case, closest to the magenta hue, a little bit leaning towards the red, but mainly towards the magenta, and it's also deep, so darker in value, rather than a light colour, so it's a deep colour. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of stick foundation. The closest match that I have found for me is Miko Beauty Flawless Glow 6 Natural Medium. So it's almost invisible on me. So it's sort of sheer to medium coverage, and it does look quite natural, I think. So just to even out hyperpigmentation, etc. Just a little bit. Dotted it on and just gonna blend it out. Just using a buffing brush. When it's blended in, it doesn't look obvious at all without wearing some makeup. So just going to use a little bit of concealer. So I'm just going to use a concealer, Revlon Serum Concealer, light medium. So I'm just going to use a little bit under the eyes, mainly. Now the medium was just way too orange on me, so and also I just want to sort of lighten some areas. So it's mainly the darkest part of the darkest circles. Worse lately because I've had a bit of insomnia. And then whatever residue is in, I just put a little bit on, just the rest, because it just gives the eyeshadow something to stick to. But I don't want, you know, this product in my eyes, so just kind of very lightly around there. And also you can just kind of any hyperpigmentation showing through. I'm not trying to remove absolutely everything, but just sort of just toning things down a little bit. Now I could have used a colour corrector underneath as well if I wanted to look even less obvious. So just doing something quick. Now I do feel like I've put a little bit too much concealer in this area here, so I'm just going to use my finger and the warmth of my finger just to sort of melt it in a little bit. And I'm just going to use a tiny bit of powder to set. So I've got Revlon Illuminance banana powder, just using a teeny tiny amount. Just the tiniest amount. Don't want to, you know, emphasize yellow. Just use a tiny amount with a fluffy brush under the eye as well. There's just hardly anything there. Okay, so we're going to use a berry blush today. So this one's a Revolution Bouncy Blur blush in Bouncy Berry. Now I generally will not go more purple than this one because I think it just looks like a bruise on my face. So when I go for something that's leaning into the violets and purple kind of colours, I tend to go more for the red end of the purple spectrum. So, and I'm just using the tiniest amount just to add a little bit of colour there. Again, I've also got this powder blush here, which is in a similar kind of colour, but it's labelled a rose, so this is called a Dusty Rose Blush Duo by Chi Chi. Just going to put a tiny bit of that on as well. I usually use this one rather than that one. Again, just a tiny amount. I'm just going to use it just to set the blush. Just set a little bit more across there, and I like to balance out with a bit down there as well. Just the tiniest amount. Then my hair will come down, so I don't usually bother too much with my forehead with anything. Just going to add a little bit of lip colour. There's some options that I have here. I've got a lip serum. This one's Nude by Nature in, what was it called? Juicy Grape. So that's a really subtle kind of like a lip balm with a touch of just a slight touch of pigment in it. It does have, if I recall correctly in the ingredients, violet, blue and red pigment in it, those purples. I've also got this other one, Porto Please by Revlon, which I could have used. And you can of course layer them over the top. I just do that. We'll probably usually layer it the other way around. I'll put the glossier balm one over the top, but it seems to work okay. And then with the eye makeup, we're just going to go very minimal. I'm just going to use this Romance swatches. Just put a couple of colours on. I'm going to go for that slightly muted one there. Just sort of put some on this area up here, just to make it recede a little bit. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of that brighter one. Just the tiniest amount, goes a long way because they're very pigmented. Just on the outside third of the eyelid. And then, whoopsie, just about dropped the mirror there. Just going to go, let's see, go for that sort of combination of that muted one there. Just going to put on the inner third and across. And then I'm just going to use a tiny bit of a sparkly one. We're going to go for that kind of goldy one with a bit of a pinky one. Just on the centre as a highlight. And just blend it out with a fluffy brush. Just to soften it. A little bit down there as well. Now, I'm not going to bother with mascara today. Now, I often would use a little bit of eyeshadow underneath the eyes as well. But I think what I might do is just go for a blue. I'm actually wearing blue pants in this kind of colour somewhere along here, so I might just add just a little bit with a fine brush. Just use a bit of these ones here. This one is Gigi Mykonos palette. Just a tiny bit underneath. Used as an eyeliner. And I think that's it. So that didn't take long at all, and I think we've managed to beat the camera before it ran out of battery. Now incidentally, this colour here is not in my Deep Autumn swatch as far as I can see. So this is my Deep Autumn swatch here from Colour Me Beautiful New Zealand. The closest colour would be probably this one here. They've labelled Deep Rose, and I do find that kind of rose family with a deep kind of rose family are quite good for blush colours. So I'll just put my glasses back on. Yeah, so just a very subtle look. Thanks.